It's still only a month into 2013, and already Australia has been hit by a record heat wave, devastating wildfires, and an unprecedented deluge of sea foam. And as if that weren't enough, then came the floods, which have ravaged towns and businesses along the country's east coast over the last week.
Torrential rain is continuing to cause flooding in central and northern Queensland. Several towns along the coast have been isolated. Floodwaters have cut more than 70 roads, including the state's major highways.
Fisheries experts are investigating what caused the death of thousands of fish on the Eyre Peninsula. The juvenile leather jackets have washed up along a 10-kilometre stretch of beaches south of Port Neale over the last week.
Absolutely incredible. I've never seen a fish kill like it in all my time travelling around the countryside.
Authorities believe unusually strong winds over several days may have caused the mass kill in the remote coastal area. Samples of the fish have been taken and a cause of death should be known within days.
看一下吧，麻烦你跑一点。
There are fears that the H1N1 virus has now mutated and resembles the Spanish flu virus that killed more than 50 million people at the beginning of the 20th century. Ukrainian doctors say the lungs of the victims are as black as charcoal.
Sounding the alarm about nightmare superbugs in our hospitals, now in 42 states, highly contagious, deadly, and drug-resistant. We'll have the new warning tonight. We now turn to health news tonight. New and extremely dangerous super germs that are showing up in hospitals across this country, other healthcare facilities, prompting some strong and alarming language from the CDC. We get our report tonight from our chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyder.
It's a silent threat lurking inside our nation's hospitals, a deadly class of superbugs that's nearly impossible to treat.
It's resistant to virtually all antibiotics. So when an individual gets this microbe and it invades the blood or invades tissue, curing them becomes very difficult.
Reports of dense smog and toxic air in China have been making headlines this week. Many are outraged at dangerous levels of pollution. It wasn't created overnight though, and here are some of the factors behind China's smog problem.
The smog and haze that has been covering some of China's biggest cities reached alarming levels this week. Local authorities admit the pollution is severe. Environmentalists say it's been years in the making.
You can see the water spot right here. It's over Hillsborough Bay. That's right adjacent to Tampa.
Are you serious? What? Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. Now that is some biblical hail.
A quarter of a mile from our location here on Highway 41 near I-75. This funnel is about to cross the interstate here in Adairsville. Again, we've been tracking the storm. We've got debris now flying to the left and center of this system. The sirens have been going off here. The wind is kicking up along with the rain. Again, a funnel just crossing the interstate here in Adairsville.
Stuff falling out of the sky.
Have a big problem, and it's kind of a gross one too. Genetically mutated rats. Army snipers are going out at night hunting these things. An environmental expert says he thinks they're growing so big because they've been exposed to radiation and chemicals.
Whether you're on a downtown stroll, eating lunch outside, or playing golf, this summer you have a new friend to look out for. The state, considered by many to have the most bugs, is about to get a new tenant. A mosquito 20 times the size of the one you're used to that feeds day and night and has a sting some say feels like a poke from a knife.
Welcome to Arctic America. After weeks of some of the mildest seasonal weather in recorded history, a bracing blast of winter is sweeping a broad swath from the American Midwest to the New England coast, freezing waterfalls in Massachusetts and giving New York street vendors a chance to cash in on the cold.
Gloves, hats, scarves, earmuffs, selling very good.
High winds and heavy snows shredded the roof of Detroit's Silverdome. Here in Chicago, on the coldest morning in 2 years, police rescued a dog trapped on a frozen harbor. The coldest temperatures dipped to 35 below zero in Minnesota. Wind chills make it feel like 40 below across much of the northern United States.
This is just going to be a quick video here. There was another asteroid that flew over South Africa, I think last night sometime. Cape Canaveral. An asteroid as big as a city block shot relatively close by the Earth on Saturday.
We also have sunspots that are disappearing, which is not a good thing. Now, the sunspots that are disappearing, as you can see here, is causing a magnetic drop on the sun's magnetic field and on our own Earth's magnetic field. Not good. We actually need these solar flares to strengthen our magnetic field and hold our atmosphere steady. And our atmosphere is also shrinking.
I was in the passenger side of this fucker's car, and he comes over on there. He was over by the recycling center. He says, "Oh, when I was in the Virgin Islands, 30 years old on a business trip, I fucked this 14-year-old." I was like, "You what?" He's like, "I raped this 14-year-old." Starts crying, gives me a big hug. He's like, "Fucking 300-pound guy." I'm like, "Oh shit, you must be fuckered, man. Like, what's he talking about?" I didn't take him seriously at first. He comes driving down this way. He's like, "You know what? I come to realize I'm Jesus Christ, and I can do anything I fucking want to." And watch this, bam, and he smashed into this fucking guy right there, pinned him in between that fucking truck.
We want to show you some extraordinary pictures which came to us from the Vatican on what was, of course, an extraordinary day. Within hours of Pope Benedict announcing that he was to resign, take a look at this. Lightning struck St. Peter's Basilica. You can see it again now in slow motion.
The Catholic Church has its first ever non-European Pope, Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Argentina, now Pope Francis.
In an interview with us in September, he declared,
"I do greater things than Jesus of Nazareth, much greater."
Now, sporting his new tattoos,
6, 6, 6. Triple S. Huh?
De Jesus says those expecting the second coming of Christ on a cloud with angels have misinterpreted what Jesus himself said.
He said it. You won't see me anymore because he will come in another body, which is me.